His name was on the board again. Just a pencil mark, next to a box, next to a tail number, 4230255. That's how they did it back then. No ceremony, no speech. Just a mechanic's hand with a pencil, and the man's fate written in 2 seconds on a piece of wood.
Mechanic Charlie Foster saw the name that morning. He didn't say anything dramatic. He was holding a tin mug of coffee. He looked at the board, and he looked back down at his mug. That was all. Nobody commented out loud. They didn't have to. Because everyone on that airfield already knew what that name meant. Lieutenant Jack Murphy, 23 years old, pilot of a B-17 Flying Fortress, and this was his 3rd flight to Schweinfurt in a single week. Jack woke up at 4:30 that morning. He always woke up before everyone else. After your 10th combat mission, sleeping normally stops being an option. His body would lie still, but his mind kept flying. It kept replaying the same frames over and over, like a film stuck in a loop. A Focke-Wulf 190 pulling out of a cloud and coming straight at you. Tracer rounds crossing the gray sky in yellow lines. The B-17 splitting apart like a tin can, and then 9 seconds. You count them without meaning to. You count them mechanically, watching the pieces fall until the plane disappears below. 9 seconds. 9 men. He sat on the edge of his cot in the dark and looked at the wall. Around him, his crew slept. Tom Greenberg, his co-pilot, was snoring in the next cot. Navigator Bill Schaefer lay so still, Jack checked if he was still breathing. In the side room, Kowalski, Pierce, Dunn, McCarthy, boys from different corners of America, brought together by events none of them chose, into 8 square meters of a metal tube, 25,000 feet over enemy territory. 9 men, his crew, his responsibility. He got up quietly, put on his jacket, stepped outside. November in England isn't November. It's a gray, damp blanket that refuses to leave. The fog was so thick the hangars 200 yards away were barely visible, just blurred yellow lamplight and the low growl of an engine in the dark. Jack lit a cigarette. The match flared orange, the only warm thing in the gray world. He thought about his mother. She wrote to him every week. He would read her letters in order, methodically, one at a time. She wrote about the garden, how the tomatoes were coming in, how the neighbor's cat dug up the flower bed, how his sister Betty married. She never wrote, "Jack, be careful." She just described the tomatoes and the cat. Behind every line stood something she couldn't say in a letter. He finished his cigarette, dropped it, ground it under his boot. He went back inside. At 5:15 in the morning, the briefing began. The operations officer pulled back the curtain, revealing the map. A red string running from Debden across the channel, through the Rhineland, deeper into Germany, ending at a small red dot in the heart of Bavaria, Schweinfurt. Someone in the back rows cursed quietly, but only once. The rest of the room went still. Jack felt something cold in his stomach, a feeling he knew well. It wasn't fear, it was something deeper, cold and heavy, like a block of ice on your chest that refused to melt. The target was a ball-bearing factory, the engine of the German war machine. Destroy it and you shorten the war by months. Jack thought about the last raid, how only half of the bombers had come back. They were going again without fighter escort. P-47s couldn't fly that far. 170 miles over enemy territory, alone. 170 miles there, and 170 miles back. In the corridor, Jack found Tom wrestling with a jammed zipper. Jack watched him for a moment. Then he asked, "How are you?" Tom looked at Jack the way people look when they want to tell the truth. "I'm fine." It was a lie, but the only correct answer. Jack put a hand on his shoulder. 2 seconds. Then they walked toward the aircraft. The B-17 blotted out the sky. 30,000 pounds of metal. Jack ran his hand along the cold olive-drab metal, a private ritual, feeling the vibration, feeling the subtle tremor that told him the machine was alive. In the cockpit, everything became simpler. The weight of the world lifted. Up here, there was only the task, no room for long thoughts. "Crew, report status. Ready, ready, ready. All 9. Tower, Papa 02, ready for takeoff." Eddie whispered in the headset. "Come back okay." Jack pushed the throttles forward. They climbed to 25,000 feet. -40 degrees. Fingers stopped moving inside gloves. Kowalski described the ball turret as a glass bubble in a freezer. Dozens of bombers in tight formations, catching the pale light. Jack kept his eyes on the instruments and his hands on the yoke. Over Belgium, the Messerschmitts came suddenly out of the clouds. Romeo 07 caught fire. Jack watched 2 parachutes come out. "Watch it. Attack from low left. Gunners, open fire." He always spoke quietly during a fight. If you raise your voice, the crew hears fear. You function, you react, you pull the yoke, you answer reports. Somewhere in your mind is a locked room where the tomatoes live.
After the first attack, 9 voices came back, all present, all working. Over the Rhineland, the Focke-Wulfs arrived like a hammer. The plane jerked hard, instruments misbehaved, the fire alarm rang. Engine number 3, fuel cutoff, fire suppressor, cowl flaps closed. The fire went out, the engine was dead, the plane became heavy on one side. Schaefer said, "Jack, we have to fall out, we lost an engine." Jack looked ahead. Flak clouds hung over Schweinfurt like stationary fog. He thought for exactly 3 seconds. Not until we dropped the bombs. On the final approach, the flak was so dense you could walk home on the explosions. Every 5 seconds a burst. Every burst could be the last. On the bomb run, you don't maneuver, you hold the line. If you deviate, the men who died getting them here died for nothing. A burst below the nose washed everything white. Shrapnel punched through the wall. Bombs away! The plane lurched upward, 2 tons of ordnance tumbling away. Jack banked left. "Let's go home." The ice in his chest got less cold. The way home was an eternity. Pierce took shrapnel to the shoulder. "I'm okay, continuing the job." He didn't let go of the gun. Over the channel, Tom slumped. Jack caught him by the shoulder. "Medic to the cockpit. Co-pilot is down." He flew the rest of the way alone. The landing gear failed. Jack called the tower, requesting belly landing. Eddie whispered, "Come back okay." Jack braced the crew. The fuselage touched concrete, metal screaming, orange sparks, and then it stopped. 100 yards before the end of the runway. Silence. "Crew, report status." 9 voices, alive, alive, alive. Jack closed his eyes. 3 seconds, the arithmetic of 9 men behind him. Charlie Foster asked, "How did you bring this back?" Jack looked at the holes. "I promised the boys I would." 600 men didn't come home on Black Thursday. Murphy brought all 9 of his. "I don't know anything about heroism. I only know I had 9 boys sitting behind me. They had no other choice. That made everything simple, because someone made a promise and kept it."